We got some stunning and breaking news this Labor Day Monday. It took a federal judge, Sparkle Supnanan, in the District of Columbia, 13 separate orders over the last 24 hours to force the Trump administration to deplane 600 migrant unaccompanied minors, 600 children who were in a refugee resettlement program, were loaded onto planes by the Trump administration without any adults around, without any lawyers involved, at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning yesterday, in order to send them back to Guatemala and revoke their status as refugees. Think about that. This not only violated due process, as the judge determined very quickly, but also violated their rights under child trafficking laws. America, the government, violating child trafficking laws. I'll cover it all right here on the Midas Touch Network and Legal AF. I'm Michael Popa. Fast-moving story, so fast-moving, I stayed up till midnight to continue to watch the docket in this case, to see the new filings by the government required by Judge Supnanan. And I want to tell you a lot about Sparkle Supnanan, because when you hear the judge it's been assigned, you're going to see she's the right judge for the job. Let's start with how we got here. There is a refugee resettlement program. These 600 children, some as young as 5 and 6 years old. The 10 plaintiffs in the case are between 10 and 17. Their parents or they got themselves here to America to be resettled. This isn't a trip to Disney World or Disneyland. This is for them to avoid abuse, torture, and the rest in Guatemala. So the Trump administration, who does not adhere to any due process in any of their immigration proceedings, this is not the first case. This is not the first case this weekend in which a federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from denying due process to migrants and immigrants. It's the second one. But in this one, immigration rights advocates were ready, tipped off by the children. So they rushed into action as soon as they heard about the planes at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And by the way, nothing says I know I'm doing something illegal and unconstitutional like the Trump administration loading planes of children in the early wee hours of the morning. You know, do it in the sunshine so we all can see. Put it on the presidential daily schedule so we know what's happening. How about that? No. They know they're doing something unconstitutional, and they hope they're not going to get caught. And they'll get these children away before a federal judge can exert jurisdiction. That's their goal. They tried it already with the 200 people they sent to El Salvador, including Abrego Garcia, all to be tortured upon arrival. Same thing could happen here with these children. So, advocates rush into action. They file a complaint, an emergency complaint for injunctive relief and a temporary restraining order. The judge sets the hearing for yesterday at 3 p.m. She then gets word from the plaintiff's lawyers that the children are already on the plane and some have departed. She moves the hearing up to 12:30. She issues a temporary restraining order, one of two that she issues in the morning. First, she enters it for the 10 plaintiffs to be grounded and get off those planes. She then does it for a certified class, or temporarily certified class, of 600, which is everybody that was on the planes at 1 o'clock in the morning in this all the Guatemalan children who are on these planes, part of the refugee resettlement program, they are part of the class. Now that's what she's protecting. Okay? So now I said there were 13 orders that were issued in the span of less than 24 hours by this judge. Let me tell you about the judge first, then we'll get to the orders, and I'll read to you from the complaint. Sparkle Supnanan was appointed by Joe Biden. Her entire career, the bulk of her career, was in leadership positions at the Department of Justice. She was the number 2 or number 3 in the Civil Rights Division. She was the number 2 or number 3 in the Appellate Division. She knows her way around the Department of...
You see what I'm talking about? This is LG again. You see what I'm talking about? How can anyone trust Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, Kash Patel, the vice president and the president and the majority in the House, MAGA, and the majority in the Senate, in the Senate, those are Republicans, and the 6 MAGA on the Supreme Court, snatching 600 kids without adults, throwing them on a plane like animals, and shipping them off to Guatemala, knowing that it's illegal. Ain't no black and brown people gonna trust Trump in the Supreme Court and the House of Representatives and the Senate. President white folk, you gotta be out of your mind. There is no way we're gonna trust a crooked, no good government that don't obey no laws. That's why you're starting a war. And I don't want no white person, whether you good or bad, to sit around and act like they don't know this is gonna start a war.